everybody, welcome along. Monday morning, thanks for clicking on the video. In my last one I chatted about exam results release day and a bit about my role as admissions tutor, and obviously I've been tracking the press and the news stories that have been coming out, and it's been a very different and challenging year for students. And I guess what's really caught my attention is the fact that students are being very transparent on social media. It's so easy on social media to only put the positive stories, to share the successes and share the wins. And I've seen a number of students who very bravely shared their experiences where it hasn't gone to plan, where things haven't worked out, where the results haven't gone the way they wanted, and they've given a very honest reaction to that experience. And it got me thinking a little bit, and I think it's so useful and important to make sure that when we portray our job or whatever we do, or the topic that we're talking about, that especially on things like YouTube and other social media platforms, we share the fantastic successes and wins, but we also talk about the realities and when things don't go quite according to plan. So when I look back at my kind of Twitter stream and my social media stuff, of course I'm going to post things like my students doing well, celebrating when they get a conference poster award, when they get allocated a journal paper, when we get funding, when somebody wins something. My social media stream is going to contain all of those events. What you don't tend to see, or what I don't tend to post, is when things don't necessarily go the way I'd like them to go, or when things take me maybe by surprise. So last week I had feedback from a journal paper. So I'd written a journal paper and I'd submitted it to a particular journal, and it wasn't a journal I'd actually ever submitted to before. I was applying a mathematical technique to a different area, and it actually, I thought, suited a different type of journal. And I put my application in, and it's quite a lot of work submitting a journal paper. There's quite a lot of things that go into it, quite a lot of time taken to make sure that you've got the right format for that journal. You have all the things that they need for the editor to consider your application. And fairly quickly after submitting that journal paper, I got a lovely email back from the editor saying that it wasn't right for their particular paper, their particular journal, wishing me well, but advising I needed to direct it to a different journal. And I can see, if you are new to the world of being a lecturer or a researcher, that kind of message can be tough to receive. You always want the paper that you send just to be smoothly accepted and published straight away. And that's not always the case. Sometimes your article is decided by the editor not to be quite within the scope of that particular journal. Sometimes when people review it, they might have issues or challenges or want you to consider different areas of your work. Sometimes you might agree with them, sometimes you might not agree with them. But it isn't necessarily plain sailing. It's not like you write something and then you're guaranteed it's going to get into the journal of your choice. And that can be a tough lesson when you're starting out. And it's tough at any time. In my case, I'll put it into another journal. That's absolutely fine. I know how the system works. And I think you get to know how the system works a little bit when you're on the other side of it as well. So, I've been a conference session organiser. So I've been part of a team of people where we look at the kind of conference abstracts that are sent to us, and we decide which people get posters, which people get oral slots to talk at the conference, and which people might actually get rejected. So I've been part of that committee who has to make those decisions. And I've been on the other side as well. I've been the person submitting in a paper to a conference and having it accepted for an oral talk and being really pleased, and also having work that's maybe been allocated a poster or, given a really kind of quiet slot in a talk that I didn't necessarily want. And it's so important, I think, to know that academia isn't a smooth path to success. Sometimes you put things in and it just doesn't go the way that you're wanting, and that's okay. These decisions can impact your life and can change your life direction and trajectory, but they don't have to necessarily define you as a person. You are still you. The fact that journal paper wouldn't take my particular article doesn't mean the article's no good. It just means it wasn't the right fit for that particular journal. And I can find the right home for the article, it'll get published, and it will still be read by the right audience. So when you have a setback, when things don't go to plan, do remember that you're not alone. There are always going to be academic setbacks along the journey, and it's how you deal with them and how you kind of pick yourself up and dust yourself down and keep going forward that kind of defines you, not necessarily what's happened. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on coping with it and dealing with rejection. I'll be back on Thursday. I will pick a happy, upbeat topic to talk about on Thursday. We've had some brilliant comments coming in. Do keep them coming in. I love reading your comments and suggestions. So I will pick a totally happy, cheery topic for Thursday. So do click, do subscribe, do like the video. If I didn't say at the start, I'm Caroline. I'm a lecturer in physics here in the UK. So I teach and work at a university. So if you're interested in academic stuff, subscribe, and I will see you on Thursday. Bye.